Hello friends! Before I start this review, I must say that I've been quite impressed to follow the launch of the Phantom. In fact, DC and his team have been listening to all the comments on their Discord for a week, and I've been working hard to come up with an update with the first fixes that will arrive maybe even before the release of this video or just after. So yes, if there are things that need to be fixed, it's because the aircraft is not yet perfect. For example, it's currently impossible to land on an aircraft carrier, which is a bit of a shame for a plane that was designed for that purpose. I'm going to cover this add-on the same way I covered the previous plane tested on the channel, so there will be a chapter about the cockpit, the exterior, the sound, the animations, the flight model, the performance on Xbox, and a conclusion. As I was speaking, you were able to see an F-18, and it will serve as a reference model. What hit me the first time I climbed into the Phantom's cockpit was the lack of visibility, something pilots had to get used to at the time, but don't forget that this is a two-man airplane. You should watch my video on the history of the Phantom. You might understand a few things about this aircraft. So yeah, it's a cockpit with rather massive frame that doesn't offer the best visibility, especially for landings. As for the quality of the cockpit, I would say it's up to DC's production standards, and to be honest, for a brand new aircraft in 2023, I was expecting a bit more, and I would have liked the textures to be a bit finer. However, if you compare it to the F-18, you're looking at something very similar, but on the other hand, there are two cockpits in this aircraft and therefore more details to add, and maybe all this at the expense of maintaining a good performance on all configurations, Xbox included, and that's what we'll see later. The three versions offered by DC are beautiful, and if you follow their Facebook account, you may remember that the precision and accuracy of the Phantom in Microsoft Flight Simulator is almost identical to the real aircraft in its proportions. With these three versions comes a total of 29 liveries, a very generous offer with some very nice liveries. On PC, DC has even opened up their model so that other people can offer free liveries, and that's really cool. I can't wait for a freeware category on Xbox. Some of the liveries may be a little too matte, but I can't tell if it's due to a concern for fidelity to the original aircraft or an artistic choice. There's a lot of details on the planes, and overall, the level of details is very good. The sounds are perfect. There are recordings for the engines, and every action of the levers and buttons is precise, as is the sound of the stress on the fuselage during major maneuvers. In my opinion, the rendering is highly immersive and flawless. The same goes for the animations. The canopy opens and closes smoothly, which isn't always the case. By the way, the opening button needs to be a bit bigger because it's really not easy to reach in a virtual cockpit. Before I start this chapter, I wish the manual had been a little more detailed, because there are a few buttons that don't appear on the checklist or in the manual, and being a newbie, I have no idea what they do. The Phantom was designed in the 50s, so don't expect screens and assistants everywhere. No, here you literally leave the plane, feel its movement, and believe me, you will have to pay attention. There is, however, an autopilot capable of following a flight plan you've drawn up on the wall map, and a radar that I found absolutely beautiful, capable of providing you with a wealth of information. An INS system, check out Pilot 83 video on this, a crosshair, but most of all, we've got two huge engines under our asses that will propel you through the skies at a lightning speed. And this is where the quote from the pilots that I found when I was researching the history of the Phantom comes in. With enough power, even a brick can fly. And this is where I think the plane and what DC has achieved is simply fantastic. It's hard to describe for a newbie like me, but this plane flies differently than more recent production like the F-16. I don't know how DC has managed to recreate that feeling. The plane is heavy, very powerful, and very demanding to fly, but it's so much fun to learn all its capabilities and how it reacts. Do not enter the cockpit of a Phantom as if you were on a conquered territory. No, just stay humble, and if you talk to it gently, which seems unnatural for such a machine, it will reveal all its secrets to you. Many people have pointed out the difficulty of landing the plane, and well, that's partly to be expected since the F-4 Phantom is a very demanding and difficult aircraft to land in real life. But there's also a small problem with the flap management, which, as I said at the beginning of the video, will be corrected very quickly. Personally, I land the Phantom with flap at level 1 and speeds between 200 and 150 knots, and I have no problems. This chapter is quickly dispatched because the performance of the F4 on Xbox is simply excellent. There is no issue with the frame rate, no black screens, no CTD, and I much prefer an aircraft that may not be a graphical showcase, but offers a perfectly fluid experience. The F-4 Phantom by DC Design may not have the most beautiful graphics in Flight Simulator, but it's the richness of the experience offered by this new iconic aircraft from the American Army that is impressive. With a bit of humility and perseverance, the Phantom delivers incredible sensation in Flight Simulator. Even if there is still room for improvement, for me the Phantom is just another confirmation of DC Design's talent. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching the video and see you soon on the channel. Bye bye.